Before I took this course, I did not know much about digital literacy. In fact, I did not correlate the term with education and learning. My professional background is in sales and marketing with a training element, and DL is not an integral part of what I do. However, within the 4 weeks of taking this course, I have been introduced to the world of DL and how important it is in the education field. I live in Nassau, the Bahamas, and wanted to get an idea to what extent our schools are digitally literate. Our private schools are only now becoming digitally literate with ITCs or information technology communication, which means for the most part, Promethean boards. The international and preparatory schools in Nassau are more advanced with their DL offerings, using Google Docs and other applications to do much of their work. In fact, laptops are required at these schools, whereas those private schools administered by the Catholic or Anglican diocese use the traditional method of learning, pen, paper, and textbook. Here is an example of a typical textbook. This is my son's third grade English textbook. And this is what the majority of the schools use here in the Bahamas, the traditional textbooks. Government schools, where the majority of students attend, are even further behind, offering its students a computer lab as its form of ITC, and students usually share a computer for the 1 or 2 lesson hours per week. The second assignment of comparing media was thought-provoking to me. After researching the vast number of U.S. newspaper blogs online, I decided to investigate if our 2 main newspapers had developed blogs as well. Alas, there is still work to be done, as none are in existence. As I read the posts of my fellow classmates who reference students using wikis, blogs, and prezis in their daily learning, I realize how minimally exposed the students in the Bahamas and perhaps the Caribbean are to these DLs. They are not exposed to these DLs in their curriculum. Even I was not exposed to them until I took ETech 5103 2 years ago. One of my assignments was to create a blog, and each week we were required to add content through various multimedia. Truthfully, I have never heard of Prezi before ETech, and thought PowerPoint was the best thing since sliced bread. This is a picture of when I attended community college, Rutgers University in the early 1990s. Note the computer and how big it was. The dinosaur now is not in existence, but that was what we were using back in the day. This is an example of our computer systems in our community college here in the Bahamas. You can note the large computer that takes up so much space. And today it's just amazing how much we've advanced to these thin laptops that weigh less than 5 pounds. Additionally, I was not aware of Google Docs before this class, but since using the application, I understand why it is becoming very popular. Sharing the document with persons who can make changes directly to it for everyone to see reduces clutter, confusion, and potentially chaos. The added feature of automatic saving is also beneficial. Putting all this into context, I consider myself fairly technologically advanced, and I find I gravitate more to those digital literacies or applications that provide functionality in my profession. I am a parent of 2 children, an 8 and 13-year-old, who are in primary and secondary school. My 8-year-old son is learning the basic functions of a computer, what is hardware and software, CPU, and the like. His practical experience of the computer is writing sentences to get a feel for the keyboard. His exposure to this ITC is about 1.5 hours per week. My 13-year-old daughter is learning how to use the computer to produce tables, reports, bar charts, and pie graphs. Compare their scenario to their U.S. counterparts who are using laptops, wikis, and Google Docs. They are technologically behind. This is a picture of my daughter's physics textbook. In the secondary schools, the secondary private schools, they use the traditional textbooks. I was speaking with a friend recently about this course and told her that our students and ourselves here in the Bahamas are technologically behind our American counterparts who are using the wikis, the blogs, and the prezis as young as the age of my son. Her 11-year-old daughter attends a preparatory school which uses Google Classroom as part of their daily learning. I briefly explored the application and was amazed at how learning has incorporated technology in the classroom. This way of learning is so different from the way my children are learning. Digital literacy includes online textbooks, preparing notes, and testing online. My sister, who lived in Virginia for 2 years and recently returned home, added that this way of learning with Mac Pro Air and iPads were the norm for her teenage daughter's learning. This class thus far has opened my eyes to the digital learning available to students globally at a very early age. This hits home for me since it affects how my children learn, and the lack of these digital literacies in their schools can possibly put them at a disadvantage. These sentiments remind me of the article by Hicks and Turner, called No Longer a Luxury, Digital Literacy Can't Wait. And I quote, "Students need and deserve for us to catch up quickly, to let go of the past, and to critically examine whether what we do is indeed supporting the development of their digital literacies. Digital literacy is no longer a luxury, and we simply cannot wait to build the capacity in our students and colleagues as well as ourselves."